All right. Okay, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen. All righty. I'm going to ask you if you would. Bring your private conversations to a close. That and as you enjoy the and I understand it is delicious. So Lord say the same. I'll have an opportunity after the fact. But we want to, as always, thank you all for coming out to share in these efforts of worship through the Bible study. I want to thank Brother Burton. Brother Burton, he been going out. He's been building his jaw muscles, talking about he can cook. You know, he said, "I'm going to show you a little something." And so
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, okay, yeah.
You can cook.
Yeah. Grateful to him for going through the trouble. Good Lord. No doubt he didn't consider trouble, but man, that's some villains you got back there, man. Man, yeah, I most definitely won't have to stop by the McDonald's tonight. But thank God for all of you in these efforts again for coming out to share. We pray always that something is being related, something is being shared that would be beneficial for us all as followers of Christ in times like these. Okay. Our study is yet in the book of Genesis, and we have made some really some good progress, in my opinion, coming up to what is the last few chapters of the book of Genesis. 41. Particularly dealing with, in the book of Genesis, the account of the goings-on in Jacob's family tree, as it were, dealing with Jacob, who had 12 sons, and how his brothers, how there was one son in particular by the name of Joseph that Jacob had was considered his favorite, and Jacob showed his favoritism, in particular to Joseph, by doing what? Made him a special coat. Made Joseph some special clothes to put on. And yeah, there you go. That's right. A coat of many colors. Made the brother stand out when he came around. You ain't got no Stacey Adams like this. Yeah. And so his brother said, yeah. He said, but we might not have a Stacey Adams like that, but we're gonna kill you. And we're gonna fix this thing. And so they decided that they were going to kill their brother, right? Right. But there was one of the brothers. He did all that he could to dissuade his brothers from killing their young brother Joseph. What was his name? Anybody remember? Reuben. Oh, yeah, I know you know that name. Yeah. No brother here remember that one. Yeah. Okay. Reuben, yeah. Jacob's son Reuben, he said, no, he said, this is our brother. We don't want to kill him. So they put Joseph down on the hole. And when a caravan came by of Ishmaelites, Joseph was sold into prison, taken to Egypt, and there he found himself being purchased, as it were, by the captain of the guard of Pharaoh. And his name was what? Who bought Joseph when he got to Egypt? Potiphar. Potiphar, a fellow by the name of Potiphar, he bought Joseph, and when Potiphar got Joseph to the house, it appears that he noticed that Joseph was a gifted somebody. So here you have this Egyptian, he takes this Hebrew slave, and he makes him second in command, as it were, of his household and all of the things that he had. He put Joseph in charge, and the Bible says that Joseph was a handsome young rascal, good looking brother. And Mrs. Potiphar, she said, oh yeah. Mrs. Potiphar looked at old Joseph and said, I need to get with that, right? And she said, oh yeah. And, yes, sir. Not yet. I wasn't the king's wife. This was the captain. This was the captain of the guard's wife, Potiphar, Mrs. Potiphar, because I don't know her name. We don't know her name, but Mrs. Potiphar said, "I want you, fella." She patted on the bed. Come on over here and lay down with me. Joseph said, "I'm not doing that." She said, for several days, she said, "You better come on over here." And the Bible says that she did that on a continuous basis, and finally she grabbed old Joseph. Grabbed him by that, well, he wasn't wearing Stacey Adams then. She grabbed old Joseph. And the Bible said that Joseph says, no, he said, I'm not going to do this. He says, how can I do this against my God? How can I do this against even my master here, who has given me everything under his power except you? He says, Joseph said he hadn't held anything back from me except you, his wife. And he said, I'm not going to do that. And so he managed to get himself out of his jacket or coat or whatever he was wearing. And she had that in her hands, and she hollered, "Oh, look what it, oh!" And then when Potiphar got home, she lied on the young man and said that he tried to rape her, tried to molest her. And I shared with you, I don't think that Potiphar believed it, because he didn't kill Joseph. I think that he knew his wife, and I think that Mr. Potiphar knew that wasn't the first young buckus. That wasn't the first young buckus Miss Potiphar ever said, "Come on over here." And but he did put Joseph in prison. And while Joseph is in prison, the jailer, right? The jailer noticed that there was something about this young man and put him in a place of authority, even in the jail, right? And he met two folks in jail, didn't he? Who did he meet in the jail? Y'all call him a butler. What's the Bible call him? He's the cupbearer. Cupbearer. He's the liquid taster for the king. He tastes the wine or the drink before the king to make sure that there's nothing in there that's going to take the king's life. He has an important position there. So he meets the king's cupbearer and he meets the king's baker, right? And both of them, they go to sleep and they have some dreams, these two dreams, right? And so they tell Joseph that they've had these dreams. Of course, Joseph has an interpretation of each dream. And everybody follow me so far? Y'all remember that? Okay. Okay. If I mess up, because y'all do know I mess up sometimes. Because of that one part I messed up about the fear. We'll get there. Anyway, so he has the dreams. He interprets the dreams for the baker and the cupbearer, and it turns out that the baker is going to live. Right? See that? There you go. Okay. Somebody. It was eerily silent until somebody said, "No." Okay. One of them is going to live and one is going to die, right? So is it the cupbearer or the baker? Which one is going to die? Okay, it's the baker's going to die. You do remember the baker said, "I had a basket on my head with some bread in there, and the birds came down and they were eating out the bread from on top of his head." And Joseph said, "Well, your dream means that the king is going to kill you, and the birds are going to come down and be eating out your brains." Oh, look at y'all eating. Ain't nobody, what's this? Ain't nobody dropped their fork yet. Ain't nobody dropped their fork yet. Okay. So it is the baker. The baker's going to lose his life, and the cupbearer, the liquid taster, the wine taster, he is going to be restored back to his position with the king in a 3-day timeline, and he gets back with the king, and lo and behold, Joseph asks of him, he said, "When you get back with the king," he said, "on one thing I'm asking of you," he said, "please remember me when you're in the king's company and the like." And the cupbearer said, "Yeah, man, I'm going to remember you." But the cupbearer got his position restored again, and he wasn't thinking about Joseph at all. He forgot him for how long? 2 years. 2 years. 2 years passed. And 2 years passed. And now, as you align these things, kind of lay some specificity on, at least I do. The cupbearer forgot Joseph, but God didn't forget.
Right.
And see, sometimes as we are dealing with one another, I'm not laying any heaviness so much on the cupbearer and the like. I'm just saying for us, the Lord has laid these particular details out, and I just have it in my heart that there's nothing that God shares that's not there to help us along the way. To understand His faithfulness to His own. God is faithful.
Yes.
To His own, and when men forget you, when pastor forgets, when brother or sister forgets, when whomever, when people forget you, you should always have about you that God never forgets His own. Do y'all hear me? The cupbearer, though he was given this great news by Joseph, and even Joseph was prophesying, foretelling before it happened, it would seem like to me that would have been something that would have been right on the forefront of his thinking, was that in 3 days it happened just like he said. And one other thing that he did say was, "Don't forget me." But he was so happy to see that Joseph's prophecy came to pass, but he didn't think anything of Joseph, as it were. But God always had Joseph in his mind,
Yes.
on his mind, on his heart. And when you belong to God, and you know that you do, nothing should be able to take you out of trust, out of faith with your God.
Amen.
He'll learn us these things, Lord. And mother was even saying, she said that she heard somebody else teaching on this passage and whatnot, and somebody asked, well, why did God allow Joseph to go to prison? Since God had all of this in mind, why did God allow Joseph to go to prison? Why did God so and so, so and so, so and so? Well, we're here. God doesn't have to answer those questions. First and foremost, now, we can ask him all we like. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not going to make God mad that you ask a question unless you ask it as though you don't deserve it. How you going to do this to me, Lord? I've been singing in the choir for 40 years. How you going to do this to me, Lord? When every time the receptacle went around the church, I put more than anybody else around. How you gonna allow this disease to come on me, Lord? How you gonna allow me to lose one of my limbs, Lord? How you gonna allow me to lose my sight, lose my hearing? How you gonna allow this to happen to me? That's a good indication that you don't belong to him. But Joseph being betrayed, watch this, Joseph being turned on by his family, Joseph and now hearing his family talk about taking his life, you're my brothers. And yet his faith in God, and another thing too, I don't know if people talk about faith being shaken and all this other kind of thing. You can shake my faith all you want. Shake it, shake my faith all you want. But when at the end of you get through shaking it, it's still going to be faith in God. Don't worry that your faith gets shaken. Satan wants to shake it. That's his job, to shake your faith. It's those faiths that he can shake apart. That's the, y'all don't hear. See, so now prison didn't shake Joseph. Being turned on by his brother, it didn't shake his faith apart. Going down to Egypt didn't shake his faith apart. Prison didn't shake his faith. The woman lying on him, the man acting like he believed it, all of those things came to shake his faith. I just got through telling this woman, I ain't going to do this because of my God. How can I do this to my God? Yeah, what's your God? I'm getting ready to throw you behind in prison now. How you behind? What your God going to do for you there? He going to make me a big cheese in there. And even if he doesn't, the thing about it is, he was totally dependent on his, that's good news. Okay, so then they do that, and now Joseph, and now 2 years later, king has a dream, right? What's the king dream about?
Seven cows and 7 years of corn.
7 cows?
7 corn stalks. There's real healthy cows, there's real sick cows.
Real healthy cows, real
sick cows. Nice corn and bad corn, bad corn.
Right, and the sick cows ate up the healthy cows.
Right.
The thin cows, they ate up the healthy cows.
Right.
Did you notice that in the dream, when the thin cows ate up them fat cows, they stayed thin?
Stayed the same.
Right. Well, Joseph said, well, this is what it means. It's going to be 7 years of famine and going to be 7 years of plenty. Right?
Right.
And now watch this. Watch this. You did notice, I hope you did notice, that the fat cow, the thin cows, they ate up the fat cow. Right?
Right.
Fat, plump, juicy cow.
Right.
and they didn't gain any weight.
Right.
That was a statement about how bad things were. It's also a statement about how folk do. Yeah. Yeah, how folk do it. See, when things are going, watch this. When things are going really great,
Yeah.
that's good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going really great. Now I go, okay, now watch this. And so the things go really bad, and you say, Lord, if you just do this for me, I ain't gonna never. That's when you're thin. So, Lord, if you just do this for me, I ain't gonna never do this for you again. The thing gives, oh Lord, have mercy on me, Lord. You're thin, right? You're thin.
Right.
And then God gives you some fatness. And the tendency is to act like you thin. To act as though God hadn't done anything for you. Though you ate of his fatness, it didn't do you any good. Because you forgot how you got it. Yeah. You forgot how you ate. You get what I'm saying? Don't tell me the Bible is something else. I mean, ate all that fatness and didn't get fat. Didn't gain no weight. Some of y'all wish that could be the real thing. Don't you? I ain't gonna mess with you on that.
Right.
Okay. So the king has a dream, and none of his sorcerers, none of his magical folk, they can answer the king's dream. And so then, clink, 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 and then the cup bearer. Then, hey, you know what? Look at me, 2 years. 2 years. I've been out here 2 years. He said, Your Highness, I know somebody. How could I? When I was in prison, I had a dream, and there was somebody there. Then he remembered. After 2 years, then he remembered that. And now, I'm lay all this out for you. You know what I'm saying? That God doesn't live in time. Also had it. God doesn't live in time. God lives outside of time. God created time for us. Time creatures, as it were. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, 2 years, and he says, I know somebody. And then they sent for Joseph in prison, and the Bible says, I pointed this out to you, while Joseph is in prison, Joseph is looking like a Hebrew slave in prison. He's got his beard, and the Hebrews in particular, they had regard for a nice full beard. It was a part of being a man to have those big heavy whiskers on your face. But now, Joseph has been in bondage all of these years, and he has been learning about Egypt. He has been learning some Egyptian do's and don'ts. He has been taking in, and that's another thing too. While you are going through what you are going through,
Yeah.
you need to pay attention
Yeah.
to what's going on in your life around you. And see now, you might be able to carve off a piece of a safety zone, if you will, for yourself. But now, you don't live in a vacuum.
Right.
What's going on around Joseph, he's paying attention to the Egyptian do's and don'ts. He's even learning how to talk they talk. You know what I'm saying? So then, watch this. You're going to see Pharaoh. Well, now, you're going to see Pharaoh now. Pharaoh didn't say, didn't give any particular instructions. Pharaoh said, bring him to me. It was Joseph. You say, I'm going to see Pharaoh, I'm going to cut this beard off. And when he goes to stand before Pharaoh, he doesn't look like a Hebrew.
Okay.
He looks like an Egyptian. Yeah. So then, and now another thing too is, Joseph ain't crazy. Joseph is going to do all that he can to get out of prison. Now, if I'm looking a certain way, I'm going to look at something, I want to look presentable, you understand? It's also, and it's just like folk be talking about, you know, they can't accept me how I look. You know, when I go on this interview, if they don't want to, they don't, you know, this is me, dog. What now? You don't want the job, dog. What you want to do is present yourself in such a manner that you can get in. Amen. Come on here. Come on here. Come on here. Somebody don't necessarily like that. I ain't talking about your dreads. I ain't talking about your cornrows. I'm talking about how you present yourself, what's this, for your own progress. See what I'm saying? Right. So, he goes to see Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, I got a dream. I had a dream, but none of my folks can answer. This is my dream. And so Joseph explains to him the dream, and then Joseph gives him a suggestion. He said, you need to find somebody that's wise and going to give you some good managerial instruction for those years of famine. Pharaoh said, after Joseph speared fell, can we find anybody around us any better than somebody that's got the Spirit of God in them? Watch this. And I said to you, Pharaoh wasn't talking about like he knew Jehovah. Pharaoh, the fact of the business is, I messed up. I messed up because this kind of sheds some light on the fact that it's not about Pharaoh knowing Yahweh or even coming to believe in Joseph's God, because even though, watch this, Joseph told Pharaoh, God has shown you what he is about to do. That had to make Pharaoh feel good and a big dog. That's right. Had to make him feel good and a big dog. That's right, he showed me. He showed me. Not what he showed me. Right? What he God has showed Pharaoh. God is using Pharaoh for his glory. And God is using prison for his glory. God is using these instances of folk trying to hurt Joseph and breaking his heart like they did. God is still using these times and these things for his glory. Can y'all say for his glory? For his glory. That's right. What are you dealing with now? What are you wrestling with now? And if you can hold on to this, whatever you're going through, however long it takes, the 2 years, the 3 years, the 5 years, whatever it is, you need to know, just as sure as you belong to God, that all things work together for good. How many of them? All. So and you wonder, what can me coming down with this variation of cancer, how can this glorify God? Well, watch this here. You'll be better able to answer that as you go through it trusting God. Do you hear me? You'll be better able to, don't be trying to stand in front of it, so he can do this, and he can do this. Well, no. As you are in that thing, going through it, trusting God, I guarantee you can talk for it. Amen. You will have a word to say for God. Be a testimony. And too many folk here see, the Lord's putting you through this so that you'll be closer to him. hard as put. See, come on here. Watch this. Listen, what I'm saying to you is, it is in the, watch this, in the midst of the storm, trusting God, you got something to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah, you got something to say. So now Joseph is large and in charge. Right?
Right.
Chapter 41, let's get there. Chapter 41. We read over past 41.
41, 46.
That's right. When Pharaoh had placed Joseph over all that he had, you remember he took off the ring, put the ring on Joseph's finger. You understand? Because I left you with on last time. Don't be ashamed of the second chariot. You know, somebody always, if I ain't in front, it ain't worth it. Cause I'm the king. I'm the big chief. I'm the head. I'm the, y'all know it. The H, what is it?
H-E-N-I-C.
Oh, see, I didn't say that. Okay. Y'all, I did not say that. That's right. That Park always says something he ain't got no business saying. I did not say that. Okay. So he gives Joseph. I just want to point out to you about that second chariot. It's called the second chariot, but it's Pharaoh's other chariot.
Right.
This chariot is exactly like. That's right. The only thing is,
You behind Pharaoh.
there you go. But the chariot is the same.
Yeah.
See, you gonna get all upset because of what they call the thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all don't feel me. Yes, you do. See, you gonna get, how you gonna call me black? I ain't black. I ain't no. I'm an African American. Folk feel good about being African Americans. They don't want to be no Negro. I done got better than being a Negro. I'm an African American. Don't y'all like that?
No, I'm not.
And boy, watch this. And then when somebody come along and say, well now, what part of Africa do you come from?
Okay.
Ain't none of y'all know African Americans. That's my point. Yeah, see, watch this. If you were from Nigeria and you became an American citizen, guess what you would be? But guess what you is? Oh!
American with African descent.
See? But the name, my point is, the name of the thing does something for your mind that ain't real. It put you on a high that ain't nothing. Ain't nothing. I said it ain't nothing. Who are you? Who is Joseph? You are not your clothes. You are not your, watch this, you are not your neighborhood. If you're from the ghetto, you are expected to be like so-and-so, so-and-so. And you get it in your mind and say, Lord have mercy. You get it in your mind, say, I'm gonna get my children situated so they can get out of the ghetto. But you there. And what caliber of individual are you? in the big city. Mayberry, the folk in Mayberry, their souls ain't nothing. I'm telling you what they told somebody. You use that as a stepping stone. That's what we do. We go to these little hamlets, we go to these Mayberries, and we use them as stepping stones so we can get to the show enough churches in the city. See? Sure. I be talking funny, don't I? I be saying some stuff. Katie, I be saying. You matter. And this city, this township is no better than you are. As nothing gets done, it's because you're doing nothing. Y'all ain't gonna help me. You get down to these meetings. You let your, watch this, you let your little dirty ghetto voices be heard. And you'll be surprised what little ghetto voices, what the power of God can do.
Yeah.
God uses little voices. Y'all read about Elijah. It almost sounds like I'm preaching, but I ain't. Elijah was waiting to hear from God, and all manner of things happened around Elijah. Winds blowing hard, terrible things going around, big things that seem like it ought to be God. But the Bible said God wasn't in the whirlwind. He wasn't in the earthquake. With a still, small voice. Any of y'all gonna talk for God with a small voice? You'd be surprised what God does with his still, small voice. Ain't that right, Joseph? Yes, sir. So Joseph. So Joseph now. Verse. Here we are. Pharaoh promotes Joseph, and he gives Joseph a wife. Changed Joseph's name. Anybody remember Joseph's name? Zaphnath-Paneah. Zaphnath-Paneah. Can y'all say Zaphnath-Paneah? That's right. That's Joseph. Changes Joseph's name. Gives Joseph a wife. He gives him Potipharah. I said it was Pharaoh's daughter, but it was Potipharah's daughter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And now watch this. The reason that I believe that this adds to my speculative point that Pharaoh didn't believe in Yahweh even after Joseph told him what his dream meant, because he brings in his God.
Right.
And adds his God to Joseph.
Right.
That's right. The priest of On, Potipharah. That's right. He brings the priest named Potipharah, his daughter, and say, here, you take her as your wife. Now Joseph is hooked up with his God. And now, you don't hear Joseph say, no, I can't take her. You can add what you want to add. You can add what you want to add, but Joseph knew who he was. Do you know who you are in the Lord? So he gives him a wife. Verse 46 says that Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. 46, verse 46, 41, 46 is where I am. And Joseph went out of the presence of Pharaoh throughout all the land of Egypt. Now in the 7 plentiful years, the ground brought forth abundantly. Everybody with me?
Yes.
So he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt and laid up the food in the cities. He laid up in every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. Joseph gathered very much grain as the sand of the sea until he stopped counting, for it was immeasurable. And to Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipherah, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh. Called him Manasseh. It means make plentiful. Okay? Let me see. Right. He called the name Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Then the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Egypt ended, and the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph said. The famine was in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. So when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Joseph for bread. Then Pharaoh, watch this now, Pharaoh said to all the, how many of them? All of them. He said, go to who? Joseph. Pharaoh said, go to Joseph. Whatever he says you to do, do that. The famine was all over the face of the earth. Joseph opened all the storehouses, sold to the Egyptians, and the famine became severe in the land of Egypt. So all countries came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain, because the famine was severe in all the land. So all of the world came to Joseph. Right? That's too good to be true, isn't it? Y'all believe that? Y'all believe the story? Come on here. Slave, Potiphar wife line. Now he's the, look at me, Mom. Sitting on top of the world, Mom. Right? Y'all believe that?
Yeah.
Hey.
That's what it says.
When Joseph saw that there was grain in Egypt, when Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, why do you look at one another? And he said, indeed, I've heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die. So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt, but Jacob didn't send Joseph's brother Benjamin with them, his brothers. For he said, lest some calamity befall him. And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him. They did what?
Bow down before him.
Just like the dream.
Just like a dream. And with their faces to the earth, Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them. But he acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly to them. So he recognized them, but they didn't recognize him. Looking like an Egyptian. All that stuff on your eyes, mess up under your eyes and tatted up tattoos. All that chains hanging all off you. Couldn't. They didn't recognize it. And he said to them, as he was speaking roughly, he said, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dreams which he had dreamed about them, and said, now this is something for you to chew on now. So he saw his brothers bow down to him and all that. And then it says, and he remembered the dreams, and this is what he remembers after he says, "You are spies. You've come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said to him, "No, no, my lord. Your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons. We are," watch this now, "we are what? Honest men. Your servants are not spies." But he said to them, "No, but you've come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more," meaning him. But Joseph said to them, "It is as I spoke to you, saying, you are spies. In this manner you shall be tested by the life of peril. You shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you. Or else by the life of peril, surely you are spies." So he put them all together in prison for how long?
3 days.
That 3 days hangs around, doesn't it? Then Joseph said to them the third day, "Do this and live, for I fear Yahweh." He said, "I fear Yahweh." Now, that should have been doing a little something for him. That should, and one more thing too. What do you think about the fact that, what do you think, if you will think about it, just for a second here. What do you think about this detail that after what they did to their brother, and all of this time has passed, they feel as though they are honest men. After what they have done, they have just made a testimony about, they don't know whether their brother is dead or not. But they speak as though their brother is dead. That's not honest. It's not honest as to what happened. But now they say, and so what I'm saying to you is that too often that mess goes on in our lives, and we don't think it anything to go to, listen, we don't think it anything to go to God and ask his forgiveness. And if we have an opportunity to, if it's a thing of offense of someone or something like that, it all will depend on the individual whether or not you would have the conviction to have some instance of reconciliation for offenses done and that kind of thing. But what I'm saying is, too often we don't think anything of the ill that we have done to ask first and foremost God to forgive us. It's enough for us just to let it pass. And see, and they say, what time heals all wounds. No, it don't. What they did to, what's this here? Even what they did to their brother. I'm saying to you, even in the dialogue of Joseph. Now watch this here. He names his first son Manasseh. Because the Lord has called me to be all right in the land of my affliction. Okay, and he named his second son Ephraim. The first son Manasseh. He's allowed me to forget. He ain't forgot. You can call that boy Manasseh all you want to, but you have not forgotten what your brothers did. You have not forgotten your daddy. You have not forgotten what went on there. It's a part of who you are.
Right.
How you gonna forget your daddy and he taught you about Yahweh? You So mama, and no. Don't try to, don't use him. You're going to name him something to remind yourself. Well, don't think about that. Well, don't think, come on here. Dad, he has made me fruitful in the land of my feet. He certainly did that, but you ain't forgot about what your brother did, and it's going to be evident in how this thing develops as it goes along, is what I'm saying to you. That as we look at God's chosen vessel, Joseph, God still wants us to have the understanding that Joseph is just like you. Jacob is just like you. He's just like me. And he gives us these opportunities to look upon his vessels, his chosen vessels. Because God is yet developing things, developing the issues of the world for the coming of the Messiah. See? And we are yet, it is our responsibility now to what's this? To bring the message of salvation to the lost, because the Messiah is coming. Yes, sir.
And and with that, where we have a tendency to think that all that's happening right now to us is just new.
Sure.
Because it's not, because it's
That's right, sir.
us.
That's right.
It's telling us.
Amen.
Even this lesson here.
That's right.
Is showing us how to accept and not accept all of the stuff that's going on.
Amen.
In the world today.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Great point. It is not new. And as we look at these, scenarios, as we look at the lives of God's chosen people, as it were, just consider that's who you are. That's who we are. With all of our fallacies, with all of our faults, God, Christ, is still going to present us before his heavenly Father faultless. Well, how's he going to do that? And I know I got fault simply because the faultlessness of us is not ours. It's his. I'm righteous. Not, what's this here? I am righteous. And what's this? It is a fact that I am righteous, but now the fact of my righteousness is the fact that Jesus has given me such.
Yes.
It's a gift. Our righteousness, our faultlessness, our glory, as it were. The fact that I am his son.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
And it is here. It is here. So then, okay, 12 minutes, 14, however many minutes here, okay. So he says, put them in. He put them in jail for 3 days or confine them for 3 days, and right. And then he says to his brothers, he says, I fear Yahweh. I fear God. If you are honest men and you're not, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house, but you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses. What a kindness. Bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. Okay. Now, the youngest boy, he is in fact Joseph's. He is not Joseph's half brother. Right. He is. They have the same mother and father over against his other siblings and the like. Okay. Then they said to the other, we are truly what?
Guilty.
We are guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us. and we wouldn't hear. Therefore, this distress has come upon us.
Right.
This is happening to us because of what we did to Joseph.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, now, do you ever feel that God is doing something to you because you did something to somebody else?
Sure. Sure.
You feel that way?
Take you to the woodshed.
You feel that God is doing something to you because you did something to somebody else? You said, now, the only reason my car broke down like this is because of what I did. Only reason this happened because of what I said to my mama. I said this to my mama, and now this is happening to me. I did this to my son, my daughter died. This is happening to me, so on and so forth. Well, now watch this here.
Right.
What if you had did what you did, and you knew it was wrong, and you apologized for it, and your car still broke down? Then what you gonna say about God then? Is that God doing that? Wait a minute. God didn't do this to them. But now, watch this here. Now they feel a conviction. You see what I'm saying? Nah, but it didn't convict them at all when they threw the brother in the hole. But now they feel something. Brother Miller, cause they in the prison. They're close to prison.
Right.
Now when I was doing that to my brother, when I was cussing my brother out, when I was cussing my mom out, when I was cussing my children out, Let's check our convictions and see why what you feeling convicted. Well, why are you feeling convicted anyway? The only reason, watch this. The only reason that convictions come is because you neglected what you knew was right. You neglect. In other words, when you neglect what you know is right, watch this now, and there is no conviction, you're in trouble. You're in a dangerous condition. But now God will never allow his own to know what is right, do wrong, and then say, well, just go about your business. You'll be all right. You'll be all right, Katie. Go on. Yeah.
So even if you do repent about this, so it's not necessarily that God is making you go through some form of restitution.
What I'm saying is, what God will do relative to something that you've done and all of that, that's totally up to God. I'm talking about the reason that we feel convicted about something. What's your reason for feeling the conviction that you do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What's your reason for feeling that way? And I'm saying that for one in whom the Spirit of the living God dwells in. I'm not saying that you can never do wrong.
Right.
But now, none of us have to do wrong.
Right.
And when we do, and you have nothing to chastise you,
Right.
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So far as salvation, so far as who you are, and that kind of thing. God is not going to let his own live in sin.
Right.
It don't happen.
It should be very uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable for the righteous. It's uncomfortable for the righteous to live in unrighteousness.
Right.
Y'all remember when Lot was down in Sodom and Gomorrah? Now the Bible describes his condition as he was living in conditions that vexed his righteous. So, and now, how come you think Lot knew what was going to happen? When them folks came up to his house, they came up to Lot's house and said, send out those men out here so we can do something to them.
Right. Right.
How come you think Lot was quick to say, hey, take my daughters?
Right.
Because he knew them.
Right.
And now, I'm saying, why would you want to live in that?
Right.
Yeah. So, if you're righteous and unrighteousness dwells, you need to check yourself before you.
So I was gonna say, because if you are the righteousness of God, that means righteousness is with you. It's not going to want to share unrighteousness. So that's why I said when people say, I'm so upset I did this and I'm just so this, that. I said, well, be happy that you do feel like that, because that means that there's something else there that you're fighting against. So when you're in trouble is when nothing says anything to you. When you're doing wrong and you don't, nothing telling you nothing.
That's right.
That's when you're in trouble.
That's right.
You in trouble.
You're in a bad way. Hey, and remember what I was saying about the fellow Reuben? Matter of fact, here, let's these last couple of verses here before we got it says when verse 21 says his brother was saying, we guilty. And you remember how we did our brother? And he was telling us, please don't do that. And we just wouldn't hear it. And he said, and now, he said, that's why this trouble has come upon us because of this. And then it's Reuben that says to them, did I not speak to you saying, don't sin against the boy? And you wouldn't listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of us. They thinking that he's dead. Okay, now watch this. But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through a what? Interpreter. That's right. And he turned, now he forgot all about his house, didn't he? Now watch this here. And he turned himself away from them and what? Then he returned to them again to talk with them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. And now, Joseph is treating them roughly.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He's treating them like an Egyptian might, as it were. But now, his heart is still, he knows that they're his. Now, so then there's an aim, there's a goal that he is looking for here. There's something that he is trying to draw out of them. And just understand, this is the first instance where you know all the time that Joseph had been talking to them, he has not been speaking Hebrew. All the time that Joseph had been talking to them, he's been using an Egyptian interpreter to speak to them, in Hebrew. They didn't, watch this here now, how is it? How is it? The time had caused them to not only reconfigure what happened to their brother so that they are okay with it, so much so that they don't even recognize him when they see it. They had put that thing so far in the back of their minds. And that's how, listen, something, you know, y'all don't know everything I ever done in my life, and you ain't gonna know either. You don't know everything that but now, it's not about how terrible things I might have done and all other kind of thing, but now, what God wants to do for me as an individual is to cleanse me from top to bottom. Everything that I have done that is out of his will, he wants to flush me of that. He wants to rid me of all of that filth. So that my soul, my spirit is clean before him. So now, what Joseph is doing here is like God would. God is bringing some things on your life that is going to draw faith. Do y'all hear me? Or rebellion. It's going to draw faithfulness or unfaithfulness. It's going to draw, it's going to draw child of God or hypocrite. Everything that he is doing, look at what Joseph, he's treating them right. But he loves them with all of his heart.
Yes.
That's why he cried. That's how come he's crying like he is. Because he understands now, watch this now, that they know what they did to me.
Yeah. Lord.
And God knows what you did. Well, I said, God knows how many lies you told. God knows how much deceitfulness you have cast upon others in your life. God knows all about you. And see now, the thing is, you don't think about him like that. You think God don't know you like that.
Lord.
So they talk.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna understand what we saying no way. What we did to our brother, I told you. Now, and see now, for the first time, he didn't know Reuben had tried to stop him.
Okay. Right. Right.
And all of this is working in his heart, on his mind. He hears Reuben say, I told y'all not to do that to our brother. I told you. Now, he never do that. They look, Reuben did want my brother. And now the conviction that they're feeling now, they're feeling it, the guilt.
Yeah.
They are they're my brothers.
Yeah.
And it crushes his heart, squeezes his heart. So much so that he can't contain the austere Egyptian. But now he has to back up on him so he can go and weep for the love of his brothers. Yeah. Now, I got him in a kind of a chokehold now, Katie.
Right.
And I'm not ready to let my grass go yet.
Yes.
I'm going to keep the chokehold on because it's going to draw some more. Good God Almighty. He's learning more about his brothers now. God is, sometimes Katie got a little chokehold on you. And it's not, watch this, it's not to inform him.
Yeah.
So you can learn about you.
That's right.
So watch this out. So your brothers and your sisters and your children. Wait, what did happen to Pops now?
Amen.
Something happened. He ain't gonna like it, but I believe he loves me. He'll be all right with it. It's like Mother Miller. Mother Miller comes and she says, I couldn't believe it. Her voice was all high. She said, I couldn't believe it. She says, I left rolling at home reading this Bible. I said,
Yeah.
That ain't no sin.
Amen.
But what I'm saying to you is see others.
Yeah.
Others are gonna watch you while you got a chokehold on.
Yeah. Yes. Amen.
God got a little chokehold on some folks.
Amen.
Isn't God good? God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
He's good.
Hot diggity.
All the time.
Oh, yeah. So, Father, I thank you now. Because I've been in some chokeholds before. And my children were watching my brothers, watching my sister, were watching my mama. She was watching. It appeared sometimes, Father, that you were treating me a little rough.
Yes, yes.
But you kept me
Hallelujah.
before you all the time.
Thank you, Lord.
Even when my heart was broken,
Yes,
ah,
yes.
your spirit would not let me pray.
Mm.
Father, you
Thank you.
you are our deliverer. You are faithful
Yes.
to your own. Master, we thank you
Thank you.
for such love as is ours.
Thank you.
We pray your blessing upon these that come, Heavenly Father, and equip us, I pray, better and better to share our faith in these perilous times. Peril is all around us, Lord. Go down with us from this place as you have times past. Careful we are to give you the honor, the praise. All belong to you anyhow. And they all said amen. Amen. God bless you. God bless you.